First off, we have Mr. Jacob van den Borne. He is the owner of Van den Borne aardappelen, which is, he's a farmer in the Netherlands. He's a specialist in the use of precision agriculture. He uses satellite data and drones on his farm, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
So, okay, as I was mentioned, I'm a farmer, and I'm going to tell you a story about precision farming. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. So I'm a farmer. I'm 35 years old. I'm married, two beautiful children, and I'm running a farm on the border of Belgium and the Netherlands. In North Brabant, we grow mostly potatoes, but also sugar beets and maize. And we do that with only four co-workers, and one of them is a data analyst. And I will just come back to that. One of the main reasons to start precision agriculture was the fact that we have enormously a lot of fields to manage. In average, we manage 140 different fields of potatoes with an average size of 3 hectares and an average of 6 corner points, so not quite rectangular. Therefore, we had a lot of overlap, and that's why we started use precision farming. And first, we tried to use technologies to reduce overlap, and that actually paid off so quite strong and so fast that after 3 years we were into precision farming. And I know precision farming is a word commonly used, but I also experienced that not a lot of farmers know the definition of precision farming. And I don't say that I do know the exact definition of precision farming, but we found out, I made one myself, and one of them is doing the right thing on the right moment, on the right place. So in three short words, it's about time, it's about location, and it's about application. So the biggest question then, how old is precision farming? And a lot of people, a lot of farmers think that will be technology of 10 or 15 years old. But actually that isn't true. If we found out, we have a small booklet, and I have it on my presentation as well. In that booklet, that's the booklet of my grandfather. He wrote it down every detail, every day what he did. And therefore he knew what he should do and what he could learn from the last year. So in my approach, in the last 10 years, we made a circular approach of farming. And in this case, that's a circular approach of farming potatoes. And actually, we start in the winter time by mapping where all the fields are, just for locating them. Then secondly, we do soil scans for determining the yield potential of the fields, then calculate tram lines. After the winter work, we're going into spring, and that's actually happening this week. Organic fertilizer, soil cultivation, variable planting of potatoes, and then the summertime, of course, we have to protect our crops against diseases. We have to irrigate them. We do crop sensing, UAV sensing, crop measuring. And at the end, we are using variable rate technologies for applying fertilizers. In the autumn, then, we're going to harvest the yield to look if we increased our yield and our quality. And at the end, we are going to storage them. And then the circle is closed, and we start using that data of the last year for the next year. So just to give you a couple examples of technology that could be used, soil scanning is one of them. We do soil EM scanning, so electrical conductivity scanning. And as you can see, we can make a lot of beautiful pictures with a lot of variation into our sandy soils. And this variation is actually quite strong related to our yield potential. And if you look into precision agriculture, you will know that yield potential is the biggest thing to steer on. We want to try to get to the maximum of our potential. Another example of precision agriculture is then crop protection. And crop protection, most of the people that I know think that we just drive every week to protect the potatoes against diseases, but actually there is a complete system for that. We use weather stations and a software package to calculate when a disease could strike, and you can see that in the red graph below our advice. Then that advice is just on the moment that diseases could strike, we are going to protect our crops with sprayers, with chemicals, and by protecting them, we We get application data, but also sensor data. The sprayer is equipped with sensors that read biomass and nitrogen content. And actually in this data acquirement, we are learning from our crops and from our technology to do a better job the next time. And if this data set is not accurate enough, we also use drones and satellites to get an even better picture of our crops. So to look at that big data set, how does that work on a modern farm? In our cases, we mounted sensors on our complete equipment that drive every week through our fields that collect data. And that data is on field level, as you can see, but also within field level, on zone level. If this data is saying to us that something is wrong, we want to acquire better data. And the easiest way is then to look for satellite data. Biggest problem with satellite data is that it could not look through clouds. And in my case, we grow potatoes in mostly 80% clouded environment. So the chance to get a good satellite image is quite small. And that's when my new hobby started, flying drones. So if we look at flying drones, you can measure a lot more than people think. The common things that you can measure with drones is biomass, but in this case, we have better sensors that even can measure nitrogen content and biomass together. And you get pictures looking like this. And in this case, this is a trial field with multiple zones of organic fertilizer. And as you can see, they can really be translated on the drone image that you can see on the screen. So by this technology, if we want to use it, the biggest thing is, can we use the technology to improve yield? And as I told you before, one of the biggest things that we found out is that actually the soil conductivity is a great thing to learn or to know in front which yield potential you're going to get. In this case, this is a soil scan with, in purple, very low conductivity zones and blue, very high conductivity zones. And if we lay over our yield map, you can actually see the same pattern. Our yield in red, yellow is very low and dark green is very high. And if I ask to farmers, say in 10 years or in 20 years, I'm a robo-farmer, I can even change the weather, how should this map look like? And a lot of my colleagues then tell me, yeah, completely green. But actually that isn't true, because we have to work with Mother Nature. And Mother Nature does not provide a high yield on some spaces, and does provide extra yield on better spaces. So that's a big thing, a big thing for farmers to realize, that it's not homogeneously, farming is not to gain a homogeneously yield, but to work with Mother Nature and the things that you could use from Mother Nature. So in all the cycle, we learned a lot, and we also learned to make a big network, because my biggest issue with precision farming is not that we don't have the equipment, we don't have the technology, but my biggest issue that we don't have the knowledge anymore. And that's a big thing. That's why we have a very fast network in sharing data, but also working together with universities for getting that knowledge. And we have a challenge there. We need not only the knowledge that is written down, but also the knowledge, and I don't know the exact English word for it, but with Fingerspitzengefühl. You need not only the written paper, but also the experience of the guy that written the paper. And I believe that we only have 20 years to harvest those knowledge, because otherwise we do have a problem. Then we have the technology, but we are leaking the knowledge. So in my case, I'm trying to do something new on the farm, and that's, we want to build an experience center, because if you tell farmers this story, and believe me, I do this quite frequently, they all find it a good story, but they're still not connected to it. They have to really experience the precision farming. What can it do for my farm? And in this case, I think we can do that, to build actually an experience center. So at the end, I hope that I'm in time. That was my presentation. And as you can see on the pictures, you could do also nice things with precision ag. I had to spray a field, and I decided not to spray everywhere. This is a 12-hectare field with 800 meters in that direction and 1,000 meters in that direction. Our logo was actually viewable from space.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please come and sit here.